Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to add resources and get a total budget for your project. So we have our schedule already here. We've got our critical path noted. We don't really have a schedule until we have added our resources to it. So what we have to do here, because we have to make sure that resources aren't over allocated, like working in the same place, two places at the same time, for example. So what we do is we go to resource and we go to the resources tab right here. And here I've typed in some resources. I typed in technician, who is work, not material. The max units refers to the number of the technicians I have, and 100% is one mechanic, 200% would be two technicians, 150% would be one full-time technician and one half-time technician. And then I have to put in the standard rate. So the standard rate for the technician I'm going to put in at $30. And the overtime rate, and remember you have to highlight the whole cost there before you type it in, is going to be 45. And I'm not going to worry about calendars at this point. And then we have another resource here, a mechanic, who is also work. And I'm going to put in here that he's $50 an hour. And the overtime rate is $65 an hour. Nope, $75 an hour. Time and a half would be $75 an hour. I'm going to also add some other resources here. For example, I'm going to add in here a part that is needed. That is going to be considered material, and I'm going to put in here a cost per use of $500. I'm also going to put in here cabling. This is going to also be material, but this is going to have a material label of feet, and it's going to be cost $10 a foot. Again, you have to erase what's there before you type in your number, $10 a foot. Okay? So that gives me all of the resources which will now be available for me to assign to my project. So what I have to do is I have to go back to task, and then I have to go to the Gantt chart. Okay, next thing I want to do is move this over so that I can see where my resource names are. I'm going to go to my first task, overhaul machine 1. Notice how you don't assign resources to summary tasks, only to non-milestone tasks. So I'm going to double click on task 3 and go to resources and click on the blue icon, and I'm going to assign the mechanic. Click on the mechanic, click on the units to get one mechanic, and click on assign. See how it put mechanic up here? And it put mechanic right there. Okay, and I'm going to shut that down, and then I'm going to shut down this window, and I'm going to go to task 4, test machine 1, and I happen to know that on the resources tab that pops up, I go to whatever comes up, I go to resources, I click on this, and I go to technician, click on the units to make it 100%. If I needed 2 technicians, even though I only have 1, I could put 2 here. It would just show that I need more technicians than I have on hand, which I'm not going to assume. Say we have 1 technician and we need 1 technician, so I'm going to assign 1 technician there as well. Now I'm going to go to overhaul machine 2. I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on the mechanic, and I want 1 mechanic. I'm going to assign that. And then I'm also going to assign 1 part. And I'm going to assign 100 feet of cabling. So you see how I've got mechanic, part, and 100 feet of cabling all assigned to the overhaul machine 2 task. So I shut that down. And then I go to test machine 2, double click again, go to resources if necessary, click on the blue icon. I'm going to assign 1 technician to that task. And then last of all, I'm going to go to the test in line task, double click, I'm going to click on that, it's that blue icon, and I'm going to assign 1 technician to that task as well. Click on close. Okay, so you can see I've got all my tasks and I've got all the resources assigned to them. the next thing I need to do, oops, notice how this technician went in at 50%. I don't want that. I want the technician set to 100%. There we go. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to have to look at this. In Microsoft Project, unlike ProjectLibre, Microsoft Project will tell you which resources are over allocated, meaning that the resources are asked to be in two places at the same time and having to work overtime, for example. For example, in this case, the mechanic is needed on task 3, and the mechanic is also needed here on task 7. This is a problem in that the mechanic will then have to work overtime because we only have one mechanic, and we might not want to do that. So we would have to manually adjust this. For example, we might have to take this task and move it right there so that now the mechanic works on task 3, and then when he's finished task 3, these dark bars are the weekend. Then he can then start working on task 7, and that pushes out our project finish date as well. But that is that's one thing you have to do manually, since ProjectLibre can't seem to do that automatically like we can in Microsoft Project. So now that we have that, we're going to save this as a baseline. The next thing we want to do is we want to click on Start, right click, and go Insert Column, and then type Baseline Cost. Click on OK. And you can see that it's added the cost based on the number of days that each resource has to work and the costs associated with each. And you can see overhauling machine 2 is the most expensive task, because not only do we have the expensive mechanic on that task, we also had to add the part and the cabling, which brought it up to $3,900. But we can see that the total baseline cost of the project in the top line is $7,580. And that is how you go about using resources and assigning them within ProjectLibre.